My name is Laquan Pritchett. This is my presentation for week 5 discussion. This is just a brief outlook of my research study. Introduction topic. Point 1, trauma-informed intervention for at-risk adolescents with PTSD in juvenile facilities, focus on emotional regulations. DBT skills training to address anger in young men with combat-related PTSD in juvenile detention centers. As you can see on this slide, I introduced my week 1 topic, which is trauma-informed intervention for the risk of adolescents with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD in a juvenile facility. Focus on emotional irregulations. I have narrated to dialectical behavior therapy, DBT skills training to address anger in young men with combat-related PTSD in juvenile detention centers. Topic importance and research question. I help youth with PTSD in juvenile detention centers. These youth express trauma and emotional dysregulation. Exploring DBT skills training as an intervention is feasible. This topic is important because my career relates to helping youth with PTDS in juvenile detention facilities. Some of these young people experience severe trauma and emotional dysregulation, which results in conflicts and aggressive outbursts. Therefore, exploring DBT skills training as an intervention to manage emotions and improve behavior is feasible as it can support their integration back into society. A brief look at literature review. Collins 2021 shows that the dialectical behavior therapy skills group DBT-SG improves mental health outcomes. These authors show DBT-SG success in reducing negative behaviors. Research conducted. Currently, research by Hollands 2020 shows that the dialectical behavior therapy skill group, DBT-SG, improves mental health outcomes for people with mental health issues. This source informs the support examination of the use of DBT skills training for anger management by offering evidence of DBT suggested success in reducing negative behaviors. The article provides a practical base of examining how DBT skills help to manage anger and other behavioral problems. Therefore, it helps to establish the appropriate DBT intervention that address the needs of individuals struggling with trauma. Literature review. Brief. This is part of the literature review. As you can see in the screen to your left, there's parts of the brain where PTSD is affected. The oblongata, the prefrontal cortex, and the hippocampus. Those are major parts of the brain that's affected through post-traumatic syndrome disorder. So we'll get into more details of that. when I present the research question. But just a brief look at it. The research conducted by Theodore 2023 indicates that the traumatic events trigger neuropsychological changes with extent impacts on behavioral, cognitive, and emotional functions. They show that the trauma affects key brain regions like the amygdala and prefrontal cortex, causing emotional disturbance and impairing memory. Theodore 2023 informs and support my research because they reveal how exposure to war-related trauma leads to structural changes in emotional process, executive functioning. These researchers educate youth on the most suitable methods to identify and manage their intense emotion, therefore embracing insight related to the neuropsychological effects of the trauma from the work of Theodore 2003 unfolds the DBT effectiveness. Quantitative research method. The description of potential methods. The quantitative approach will measure the efficiency of DBT skill training. It will use numerical data and statistical analyze. It will provide statistical data on the anger level changes before and after DBT skills training. Best method would be the quantitative approach because it will measure the efficiency of DBT skill training. It will use numerical data and statistical analyze to do so. It will be possible to determine whether the DBT skill training facilitates a measurable reduction in self-reported angry outbursts or not. The quantitative method will provide statistical data on the anger level changes before and after the DBT skills training. Therefore, it will simply to quantify the effect of this intervention. Ethical issues. Discussion on ethical issues. I will obtain explicitly age-appropriate consent from young men and their guardians. I will describe the nature of study, possible risks, and benefits logically. I plan to anonymize and secure data to protect participants' privacy. The research will be reviewed by any IRB and ethics committee. Excuse me. I plan to adhere to the ethical standards to facilitate the well-being and protect the rights of participants. I will obtain explicitity and age-appropriate consent from the young men and their guardians. I will also describe the nature of study, possible risks, and benefit of logical. Besides, I acknowledge the concerns of potential of psychological distress. I believe discussing and addressing traumatic encounters can worsen the symptoms. Hence, I intend to adopt support mechanisms like accessing mental health professionals. Moreover, I plan to anonymize and secure data to protect the participant privacy. My research will also be reviewed by Institutional Review Board, IR, and Ethics Committee to guarantee that it meets all ethical standards. I am devoted to ensure that the likely benefits outweigh any risk by conducting the research responsibly and respectfully. Conclusion. Trauma among youth with PTSD in juvenile justice center is a severe challenge. The topics help determine the effectiveness of DBT intervention. It offers practical therapeutic approaches. My topic is important because trauma among youth with PTSD in the juvenile Justice Center indicates a severe challenge. Thus, it is essential to incorporate interventions such as DBT skills training to support emotional regulations the affected people, among the affected people. Excuse me. Moreover, this topic helps determine if the intervention reduces emotional dysregulation symptoms. Therefore, the topic gives evidence support in intervention effectiveness and contributes significant information concerning practical therapeutic approaches for at-risk youth with PTDS. And that's my brief overall research. And it goes to the conclusion. Thank you and appreciate you.